Hi guys, now that we talked all about the CED format, a little about the history and why I like it, we'll go through my collection of discs so far. I have two of the blue stereo discs, Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of the ones off my short list of ones that I absolutely want to have on the format, aside from ones I randomly stumble upon, kind of grab anything for the format that's interesting. It's pretty obscure, so I can only really have a real short list of ones that I specifically want to look out for or go online and get. And Blue Thunder is my other blue disc here. And there was a little bit of differentiation in the covers here. You had white was the standard, this is MASH. Blue was for stereo sound, and there weren't that many of them compared to the white. And then I believe there were also ones with black caddies, which were interactive discs, which there were very few made, mostly by Disney, I believe, and you had to have a certain player that you could interact with, and it was similar to kind of those interactive VHS tapes, a similar idea to that. Tom and Jerry, some cool selected cartoons of old Tom and Jerry there. One of my favorite movies, the original Pink Panther. Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. A Night at the Opera. I really like the Marx Brothers, particularly Groucho. North by Northwest, and this is one of those two disc movies because it's well over 2 hours, so it's actually 4 sides to watch the whole thing. Starting Over. Goofy 80s classic Airplane. The Muppet Movie. Romeo and Juliet, and this is the one that I always think of when I hear about Romeo and Juliet, because this is the one we watched in school and I'd see on TV occasionally. It's just the one I'm most familiar with as far as film adaptations. This one's really neat because it is actually 2 documentaries, one on each side, and the first one about King Tut is narrated by Orson Welles. California Suite. I have yet to watch this one, and I've never seen the movie before, so this will actually be one of the times where my first viewing of a movie is on the CED format, but I'm pretty curious because it's a crazy cast. Look at everybody who's in here. I mean, some of my favorite actors, a lot of big names from the time, so I'm pretty curious to see how good that one is. The Greatest Show on Earth. Adam's Rib. Hello, Dolly. Another one of those 2 caddy ones, a whole bunch of them here. Piaf. Fiddler on the Roof. And I do like how one thing that's interesting is just about everyone I've encountered so far, most of the 2 caddy ones, the back of each side is different and features something from that part of the film, so it's not exactly the same on both sides. Get a little bit of a different artwork and screenshots. The Graduate. Ordinary People. Fame. Some nice shots in this one on the back here. Annie Hall. The Great Caruso. An American in Paris. Reds. Only disc 1 of Reds. I think this is a 2-parter. Yes, yeah, so only have the first half of Reds here. Easter Parade. A good Judy Garland movie. And last but not least, A Man for All Seasons. So a pretty decent collection so far, and a good variety of stuff from different genres and different eras, and particularly since I grabbed all these in just a couple pickups, really. I found one originally, the Muppet Movie, and North by Northwest. Those were the first 2 I found when I found the first player, and then got almost all of these at once this past Christmas between my wife, My sister Rachel and my mom just got all these like crazy pickups and built almost an instant collection of around 30 movies pretty quickly here. So it's a pretty unique format, lots of cool movies, and again, it's one of those things where you kind of get what you find that you find is interesting, and there's just a handful out there that are really cool pickups, like Star Wars, that type of thing, Blade Runner, ones I look at specifically, but a really cool format and a pretty decent collection so far. I have two of these really early model players, the ones that are fully manual load, some of the first players ever released by RCA, and I love them for their beautiful design. I love it has much more of a cool retro feel rather than just an outdated feel that I feel like some of the other players have. The other players seem to be trying too hard to look futuristic, and I like the wood grain and metal mixture on these. I love the way they look. These are definitely cool players to have, and I also love them for the simplicity. The innards, the working mechanisms of the machine are definitely a slightly simpler design than some of the newer ones, so they're easier to maintain in the long run. And this first player, the one that's in better condition, perfect working condition, I just had to replace the loading belt there. I actually found complete in the original box, which was a great bonus to have. That's really, really cool. This second one here, you'll notice the mechanism here, it's off, but it's in the play position. I actually just have to take it apart and just readjust where this locks into the gears. It's just been kind of pushed off a peg or two, because when I found it, someone had shoved a laser disc inside here and tried to play it. I guess because they didn't know what CED was, because most people don't. It says video disc player. They probably thought it was a laser disc. Found it with a laser disc shoved in there, and they had tried to play it, so it shoved this, off where it's supposed to be, and completely destroyed the needle to the stylus. So that was pretty much ruined, but this works fine. If I just put the stylus from the good player inside it, then it runs perfectly fine. Just need to adjust that and eventually locate the appropriate stylus. There are a couple different models depending on what model player you have, and they're getting pretty hard to find, especially in new or like new condition, which I'd like to have one just so this backup player is also in working condition. I don't really have to replace a lot along the way. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you know anything about this format, if you have it, if you grew up with it. I know some of you are out there that actually had this format instead of VHS or Betamax or something for a little while as a kid. Let me know if you have any memories of this format or any particular releases that you know if I should look out for, or something that has a weird cut or a weird copy of a movie on this format. Let me know.